the laughing mask of Friday the 13th. It was a chilly, overcast Friday the 13th at Camp Crystal Lake. The trees swayed gently, their skeletal branches scraping against each other like restless whispers. A group of counselors had just arrived for their annual cleanup weekend before the summer season. Little did they know this Friday was unlike any they had experienced before. In the woods surrounding the camp, a mysterious figure observed them. He wore a hockey mask, but instead of its usual menacing blankness, this one had a grin drawn across its surface in blue marker. The figure clutched an axe, but it wasn't bloodied or worn. It was wrapped in bright tape, with streamers flowing from its handle like a carnival prop. The figure's shoulders shook with silent, suppressed laughter. This wasn't Jason Voorhees. This was H2O Delirious, the infamous masked mischief maker who had somehow wandered into this dimension. The counselors began their work, chatting and joking as they raked leaves and cleared out the cabins. They found strange signs around the camp. Balloons tied to doorknobs, a boombox left in the woods playing ominous clown music, and a trail of marshmallows leading nowhere. I don't remember Jason leaving party favors, one of the counselors joked nervously. As dusk fell, the camp's power mysteriously went out. Panic began to set in, and the counselors decided to stick together. But as they gathered in the mess hall, the door suddenly slammed shut, and Delirious's unmistakable laughter echoed through the building. From the ceiling, glitter and rubber ducks rained down. Then the boombox in the corner sparked to life, playing a distorted version of Happy Birthday. The counselors screamed, but not from fear. They were utterly baffled. Delirious burst into the room, his axe twirling in his hands like a baton. His laughter filled the room, infectious and strangely comforting despite the chaos. "You think you can just come to my camp and not invite me to the party?" he shouted, his voice gleeful. "The game begins." The counselors quickly scattered into the woods, their flashlights flickering with unreliable beams of light. Delirious's laughter echoed ominously from all directions, making it impossible to tell where he actually was. Every step seemed to trigger some new prank, each more bizarre than the last. The glitter bomb. Bush Jessica, one of the bravest counselors, dove behind a thick bush to catch her breath. Just as she crouched down, she heard a faint click. Before she could react, the bush erupted in a shower of glitter, coating her from head to toe. A small speaker hidden among the leaves blared a triumphant fanfare, and Delirious's voice crackled over it. "Congratulations, you're fabulous now." Jessica groaned, brushing glitter from her hair as it seemed to stick to her like glue. The gummy worm minefield over by the canteen. Marcus thought he had found a safe hiding spot beneath the outdoor picnic tables. As he crawled under, his hand squished into something slimy. Confused, he pulled back his hand to discover it was covered in sticky, colorful gummy worms. Looking around, he realized the entire ground was littered with them. "Looks like you found my special trap." Delirious's voice boomed from a hidden speaker under the table. "Don't eat them all at once." Marcus scrambled out, slipping and sliding on the sugary minefield as Delirious's laughter trailed after him. The strobe. Light scare. Katie and Ben decided to stick together, sneaking into one of the cabins to barricade themselves inside. As they turned the latch, they let out a sigh of relief, until the room suddenly lit up with erratic, colorful strobe lights. A disco ball, suspended from the ceiling, spun wildly as a remix of Delirious's laughter and cartoon sound effects filled the cabin. "What is even happening?" Ben yelled over the noise. "I think we're at a rave," Katie shouted back. her panic giving way to bewildered laughter. They stumbled out of the cabin, momentarily blinded by the lights, only to run straight into a foam bat booby trap that lightly bonked them on their heads. The flying rubber chickens. In the woods, Eric heard a faint whistling sound that grew louder by the second. He ducked just in time as a rubber chicken flew past his face, narrowly missing him. He turned around and saw a contraption rigged between two trees, a slingshot loaded with more rubber chickens, each armed with squeaky sound chips that cackled upon impact. Delirious's voice rang out from a nearby walkie-talkie, which Eric hadn't noticed clipped to his belt earlier. "Rubber chickens are the ultimate weapon. Fight me on it." Eric tossed the walkie-talkie to the ground, but it continued to spout random chicken-themed jokes as he sprinted away. The masked mannequin ambush. Jennifer thought she had outsmarted Delirious by hiding in the mess hall's pantry. She closed the door softly, letting the darkness envelop her, and crouched behind a shelf of canned beans. But as her eyes adjusted, she realized she wasn't alone. Standing in the corner was a mannequin wearing a Jason Voorhees hockey mask. Before she could scream, the mannequin's head slowly turned toward her, accompanied by a low, robotic laugh. Jennifer bolted out of the pantry, only to find another mannequin standing by the door, this one wearing Delirious's signature smiley face mask. She didn't wait to see what it would do, running out into the night with Delirious's voice trailing behind. "Oh, come on, it was just my stunt double." The marshmallow web. David tried to climb a tree to get a better vantage point, hoping to spot where Delirious might be lurking. As he hoisted himself up, he found himself stuck. Thick strands of sticky marshmallow goo clung to his hands and legs. It was like a web, strung between the branches, each line glistening in the moonlight. "Caught you in my trap, Spider-Man." Delirious shouted from below, his laughter ringing out. He waved up at David, who was now dangling awkwardly in the marshmallow strands, a blob of goo stuck to his hair. "Don't worry, it's gluten-free," Delirious added, before vanishing into the trees. The Rubber Duck Orchestra. By midnight, the counselors regrouped at the camp's main dock, hoping to rally and form a better plan. But as soon as their feet hit the wooden planks, a chorus of squeaks erupted beneath them. The entire dock had been covered in rubber ducks, their beady little eyes reflecting the moonlight. Delirious leapt out from the shadows, brandishing his foam axe. "Behold the Duck Army. Surrender now, or face their wrath," he declared, scattering more ducks at their feet. The counselors, too tired to argue, burst into helpless laughter as they waded through the sea of squeaks. The counselors quickly realized that Delirious wasn't there to hurt them, at least not in the traditional sense. Instead, he proposed a game. Survival, hide and seek. If they could avoid being caught by him until sunrise, they would be free to leave. But if he caught them, well, they'd be duct-taped to a tree and forced to listen to his playlist of meme songs on repeat. What followed was a night of pure chaos. Delirious chased the counselors with a foam bat, howling with laughter every time they tripped over a root or collided with each other. One unlucky counselor tried to hide in a canoe, but found it already occupied by a mannequin wearing a Jason mask. It had a speaker taped to its chest that blared Delirious's recorded laughter. Another counselor stumbled upon a trap set by Delirious, a trail of chocolate leading into a small cabin. Inside, the entire floor was covered in whoopee cushions. By the time the sun rose, only 2 counselors remained uncaptured. They stood panting on the dock, victorious but utterly exhausted. Delirious emerged from the woods, slow clapping and still laughing. "Congratulations, survivors," he said, bowing dramatically. Your reward is not having to hear me sing my rendition of Baby Shark for the next 3 hours. The remaining counselors gave weak smiles, just relieved to see the night end. Delirious handed them both balloons shaped like animals, because why not, before vanishing into the misty woods. The next day, the counselors who survived the ordeal packed up and vowed never to return to Camp Crystal Lake. The counselors were exhausted, bewildered, and covered in glitter, marshmallow goo, and feathers. But through it all, they couldn't help but laugh. Delirious's tricks, though maddening, were harmless and undeniably creative. And somewhere in the woods, H2O Delirious watched from the shadows, already brainstorming new pranks for the next unlucky group to stumble into his chaotic playground.
Right now, it's time for Delirious. Like, I'm out of my mind, I'm delirious. Every day, all day, it's Delirious. We will forever be